Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Charity Charge Nonprofit Spotlight Series. My name is Matt, and at Charity Charge, our mission is to power yours. Outside of this podcast and blog series, we do that through equitable access to financial tools and services, such as our credit card and gift card programs. If that sounds like it would be helpful to your organization, please do reach out to us. And on today's show, I'm joined by Dr. Trey McMullen. And Trey, thank you so much for being here today with us. How are you?
Going good, Matt. How are you? It's a pleasure to be here, man.
I'm doing very well. The pleasure is all mine. I'm very excited to chat with you about your organization, SYSTOS, as well as your involvement with several nonprofits. On the show, we highlight the missions of wonderful nonprofits we get to speak with and get to know the individuals that are helping run the mission behind the scenes. And so, before jumping into the organizations you're affiliated with, Trey, could you tell us a little bit about your background and kind of what got you into this space and set you on the path that you're on today?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. So, a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Always, I love to connect with good people, good organizations that have good missions, and I think what you guys are doing over there is quite fantastic. So, definitely looking forward to connecting further and splashing this out to my network so we can get you some more great organizations that you may not have ever heard of. So, there's a lot of those from a lot of the different communities that I represent, as far as the military, law enforcement, different specific communities, human trafficking, sexual assault, opioid addiction, children aging out of foster care, all kinds of different great organizations out there. But let's get back to me. So my name is Trent, well, Dr. Trent McMullen. I'm just getting used to being called that. It's new. I just passed it. I finally conferred in June of this year. Thank
Congratulations.
you so much. So it's still getting used to it. I'm originally from a small place outside of Cleveland, Ohio, Ashtabula, Ohio. Joined the Army straight out of high school, 2006. Started off as a military policeman. My first duty station was over in Europe. Once out of Europe, I did a 15-month tour to Iraq. After that tour, PCS to Fort Benning, Georgia. Did all my schooling. Did some cool competition stuff. Man, I was able to go to Hawaii. Once I got to Hawaii, ended up doing another tour in Afghanistan for 12 months, came back, and I decided I wanted to switch my job. After that, I went to counterintelligence. Counterintelligence took me to Fort Huachuca. That brought me to Florida, 7th Group, U.S. Army, 7th Special Forces Group. I did about 3 years there, and then I got injured, and I ended up getting medically retired because of that. So I have ulcerative colitis, Crohn's. So I don't use that necessarily as a I remember one point in time where I was literally downrange because once I got out, I was looking for jobs, and I was probably applying for 100 jobs a day. And they were either telling me, "Hey, you're overqualified or you're underqualified." And I was like, What is going on here?" To people to be telling me, "Hey, listen, you have no real world experience." I was like, "Well, where were you at for your 19th birthday, your first birthday, your 25th birthday, all these birthdays that I've spent fighting for this country across? How could you tell me I didn't have real world experience?" And that's kind of a youthful thought. And sometimes there's anger around that because you grow up and you realize kind of more so what they are saying, and then what they aren't saying. They're just saying, you don't have any actual corporate America experience, which would be better received if you just said that rather than, you know what I mean? You have no real world experience. A lot of these things carried on. And once I got out, I did some contracting for about 5 years, working for on a TS program. That was really fun. Deploying and working with some of the guys and gals, the best in this country that we have to offer. That was amazing. A dream come true, especially after being medically retired. Being able to do it for small stints, 60, 70 to 80 days at a time. It was a blessing to me and to my family. During that time, I started SYOTOS LLC. So it's called SYOTOS, and SYOTOS stands for See You on the Other Side. So this was a company dedicated to all the brothers and sisters that I had lost in the global war on terrorism, and also the opioid addiction cycle that so many and too many, unfortunately, are going through. So with that, we had some great successes. We've had one of the largest federal contracts in Florida history, and we employed over 130 teammates as I don't have employees. My mantra is never above you, never below you, always beside you. So I truly believe that, the roles could be reversed and I could be asking you for a job. That, I'm never above you. I'm never below you. I'm always beside you. Just nobody's better than anybody. Everybody goes through it, no matter what you have. A big money, little money, everybody has a tough road and everybody's going through it. I truly believe that, you know, sometimes life itself could be just for you to tell someone hello. I mean, they're having a really bad day and you might stop them from doing something that could potentially change the world. There's a lot of
Mm,
people that you just don't know are walking around carrying things that you couldn't imagine. And, I used to say, it's nice to be nice, Trey. That's how she
mhm.
raised me. It's nice to be nice, and I've had a
Absolutely.
problem with just being nice. You know what I mean? A lot of people struggle there, but, that doesn't mean that I'm going to let you get over on me. It just
Mhm,
makes me that's just naturally who I'd rather be. Yeah, so, we, knocked out all that stuff. I ended up getting out, opening my first company, going through all that. We've had one of the largest private contracts. We've, protect people, places, and things all over the world. I've protected some of the biggest stars that you could imagine, from Drake to Chris Brown to, Jennifer Aniston. So it's been a great deal of back and forth, amongst a lot of the CEOs in the medical industry and a lot of other people that I've had an opportunity to sit with and protect dignitaries, officials and things like that. And it's given me an opportunity to really get an inside look and a view at, how these people are living, and what the things that they're having to struggle with and deal with on a daily basis, which are under glamorized. But when you see on TV, you see the glamour, and a lot of people are fighting for these things and wanting to get after these things. All I want to do is be able to take care of the people that I can take care of and bring those people to the water that want to drink. I understand now that you cannot make anybody drink once you get into the water. They have to want it. So if I can, set myself aside, give an example to the people that look up to me, the people that follow me, and by taking the hard road, I'll clear the beautiful field. That just means,
mhm.
hey, the next guy, he can say, man, it's not completely clear, but I could tell a guy walk through here. And then the guy after the girl after that, it's way clearer. So all of a sudden it's paved. And now people are driving freely. So it takes self-sacrifice for somebody to do it. Somebody have to take charge. Somebody have to step up. And SYOTOS Foundation kind of breath from that. I always wanted to have something in the space. I've worked a lot on other nonprofits. I sit on Safe in the Panhandle, which is a human trafficking board, Gulf Coast Sexual Assault Board, some stuff down in Miami, and a couple other different boards. But this one to me is inclusive of all of those things because I've been able to get exposed to all those things. I think I have a huge plus I have, I have a daughter, I have a son, you know what I mean? These things are very real, and they're touching more and more Americans every day. I think we have a security issue out here in this country for a couple different things. We're having school shootings. We just lost a few yesterday, to and it's just seeming to become normal, and I hate that, what I'm saying, that this has become normalized, but these kids and these folks and these, parents, they're gonna need some level of support after this because nobody talks about what those parents in Uvalde are going through or what those parents recently are going through, and it's a long road of recovery. Anger, resentment, the whys, the questions, so forth and so on. So we're trying to tap
Mhm.
into, those communities. We support some organizations that really do that. Armored One, Tom says he does a great job over there. I could just name off quite a few, but he's one that comes top in my mind that they just do a great job providing that free counseling to, go into those school shootings, providing that counseling to those individuals. And it's amazing what they're able to accomplish. So
Yeah.
this foundation just has a broad overview of what we do.
That's wonderful. I appreciate the context there. It's very clear that this is a passion of yours to assist. In this way, it makes sense that you'd be on the board of mission aligned organizations, and that is the focus of your organization. Wanted to touch on a lot of our listeners are nonprofit leaders, board members, the like. I wanted to ask you, yeah, about Gulf Coast. Sexual assault program that plays a critical role in providing trauma sensitive coordinative response and in your board role with them, how do you help steer organizational strategies to meet the evolving needs of crisis response and survivor care?
I would say that how I provide assistance is just my lessons learned and my experience and just the way my mind works. I've got dual knowledge side, so I have some law enforcement background. A lot of my degrees are intelligence, emergency management, homeland security, so forth and so on, global security. Having gone through all that and been able to see how strategy operation goes and it can what it can involve what it can evolve into from just a group of people is quite amazing. So I'm there to provide that quick thinking, that ability to come up with out of the box ideas, and things that some people aren't thinking about.
No, that's critical for a good, nonprofit board to have individuals with, that specific experience and ties to the community of the organizations that it is serving. And so that is very clear that, that you are bringing crucial experience to the board. To talk a little bit about SYOTOS, I know that it's, you've got your organization as well as its foundation. How do you approach balancing, commercial innovation with philanthropic impact? Um, I know that that's very near and dear to you is giving back to the community and making sure that you are making a philanthropic impact. But are there moments where the commercial side informs or inspires the other?
I think they all come from a unique start point on what do people need. So if you're creating something, it's got to be a need. If there is no demand, there is no need for the supply. So looking at what is the current need and then looking at what are the issues inside of that need that current market or customers aren't providing that we could provide to get some type of initiative or advantage there above someone else. So I would say, for instance, for the MIP, which is our military installation program, SYOTOS Technology is a for profit company. SYOTOS Foundation is a nonprofit 501(c)(3). They are partnered together to provide, from the SYOTOS Foundation side, job opportunities to military spouses that live on military installations to be able to conduct rideshare on that installation. So they're not going off the base. They're not having to go far. If they do go off the base, it's to take somebody off the base that came from the base. We're lowering the force protection because we got a lot of people coming in, getting jobs with other ride shares, and there's not the high level scrutiny there, and you can come through and get a driver's license very quickly. So that means you're able to drive, and you could potentially go through one of these military gates and gain access to people, places, things that you normally would not get access to. And that information can get back to nefarious characters, so forth and so on. So helping them limit that liability, I think it's great. I think the military families are would love to service their own. I think they would help lowering, the bringing on of drugs and so forth and so on. You can't say it'll stop it because I always say 1% is bad. So you got 99% that is gonna be good. So there's always dealing with 1%. Even if you wanna think it's the best thing since sliced bread, you still have to factor in the 1%. So we're really working towards a few other initiatives as well with the SIOTA's health initiatives we have going on over there. Reefs Across America, we're partnered with them, help land on reefs on our veterans and those we loved. A program that I went to a end overdose event last night, and it was amazing. And I met with an organization that they were looking for. I'd always had it on my heart to do something with children aging out of foster care. I honestly don't know why that was one of the things that I said, but when I voiced the mission statement, that
Mhm,
they were a part of it. Not to know why, have no idea, but it just came out. So to
mhm,
continue on those steps and to now, maybe been open for maybe a year now, to be able to find an organization that says, "Hey, we're looking for people to connect with these kids that are 18 and just moved out of that paid place." There's somebody that keeps in contact with them to make sure, besides their caseworker. So they have a caseworker and then they have a contact or a control person. But a lot of times there's a lot of kids that are, I say kids, but they're now adults that don't have that person. So connecting military members, first responders, anybody really that would like to volunteer over at the SYOTOS Foundation on the program of helping children aging out of foster care by providing mentorship, guidance, being that big brother, being that big sister to this next generation. Possibly that's such a vulnerable place. They're in such a vulnerable place and they're susceptible to so much that the access is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? So, and they don't know how to filter it. They haven't had that guidance. They may not have had a good relationship with that person that had been their kind of parent. You know what I mean? So they're just kind of out here. So being able to have somebody that I think comes from good background and you're always dealing with the 99, so that at least have 99% of people that we can make sure are giving out good quality information and pushing people to be better Americans. I think that's going to be the goal here. It's going to fill their cup and it's going to fill their cup. So that's what makes me feel good anyway.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that as well. Where can our listeners go to support your endeavors with SIOTUS or otherwise the foundation or any of the other nonprofits that you're working with?
Absolutely, and I would be amiss if I didn't mention the CEO. I'm the founder, but the CEO is Todd Sims, a recently retired Force Comp Sergeant Major, great guy. COO John Grice, Command Sergeant Major, one of our rock stars over there, Shanina Eddington. Like, where will we be without her? Great things are just happening. We've had so much success and blossoming over the last couple months. I just have to make sure I mention those people's names. And all the other people that are on the team and the staff. Shout out to you guys. It's one step in front of the other in nonprofit land. You know what I mean? So you gotta really understand who you're dealing with, who's trying to use you, who's not trying to use you, how would you like to be used? Because being used isn't bad. Just tell me how you're gonna do it so I can help you. So we can be transparent about it. So I think that uh, you can find us on LinkedIn, SIOTUS Foundation. You can find us on our website, which is www.SYOTOS And you can find me anywhere, Trey McMullen, TreiMcMullen, or on Instagram, T McMullen FL, as I've just recently announced my candidacy as I'm going to be running for state House representative for District 2 in Florida. So we're really getting
Excellent.
that to even help further expand what a product of the foundation can become.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on that announcement. And I just really wanted to thank you, Trey, for your time and your insights here. Very valuable to our listeners and to us. And we wish you the very best and look forward to any collaborations or just staying in touch and watching the impact and growth of your organization. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Matt. God bless you and your organization.
Thank you.